Recently, I created an iPhone video and a lot of people have asked me, how did I do it? Can you please make a tutorial? Now, unfortunately, I don't have the time to make a tutorial right now, but I am going to show you exactly how I created the shot in this breakdown video. So let's get started straight away. First of all, I was quite confident in the shot because if I look at the name of this blend file, it actually says viral iPhone video 2. Right now it is at 162,000 views in 10 days. It is still getting around 17,000 views per day. So let me play this so you can actually see what's going on. We've got the iPhone that is, well, disassembling itself. We've got a chip which has all these different little components being plugged onto this, plugged in. And then we have the chip coming into it, going out of the camera, and there's several different techniques, and it loops, by the way. So if we take a look at this, I'm going to show you exactly how I managed to do the shot, step by step. So the first thing you need to know is the modeling. I have created several different components. Let me set this to render mode, and all of these components add to it. Now this one, of course, was created during the iPhone modeling tutorial, which is already online. You can check that out if you want. We have this battery, and for some reason it has gone beyond this this part, and I wasn't paying attention. Luckily nobody else was as well, so I haven't heard anything about that. So no problem, little mistake. And I've made some components right here that I saw in an iPhone repair video. There was a video of a guy opening up an old iPhone, maybe an iPhone 14 or an iPhone 15, and I saw a glimpse of what the inside of that iPhone looks like. So I made a screenshot and I tried to recreate some of those parts by eye and by hand and by heart, simply to get some more detail in here. And this is of course also created in the modeling part of the iPhone tutorial. We have this part and all the buttons, all these little squares. But the model that most people are asking about is this chip. And I'm going to show you in a different file what this chip actually looks like. I'm in this file. Let me first show you what the reference is that I used. It's this image. I'm not sure if it's a real image or if it's just a generated image. I don't really care either because, well, nobody's going to verify or check whether these chips are correct. And I really didn't care. It's more about an artistic expression more than anything else. So I'm going to remove this and turn it off. I've also made this casing, but I'm going to bring it up so we can see what's in the inside here. Now, a lot of people have asked me about this chip, and it's pretty interesting because this is one of the most easy parts of the modeling. So even the iPhone was harder to do, and the chip is basically duplicating around certain assets that were created once. And I will show you exactly what I mean. We've got this chip right here. All of these are the same object. This. I don't even want to count how many of these there are. This is all the same stuff. So if I go into modeling, this is a specific model. It looks like this. It's just a plane. Use loop tools, create a circle, extrude it outwards. Very simple stuff. Did the same for this one. And now I had 2 or 3 of those different versions, which are used throughout this entire model everywhere. Now, of course, I have this part, which is just a cube. It's even going through the chip, by the way. It's just a cube. I extruded these parts out, and then I beveled these edges. Very simple stuff. And this right here, for example, is just an icosphere, and I brought it in half. And that's basically it. I just duplicated it all around here. And for this one, I used erase, just to make the process a little faster. And I also made some textures for these. So right here we have the Apple texture. Of course, this part I created in DaVinci Resolve, just started with a separate image. And the random text generation for the string, I really didn't feel like doing it myself because I had to do it a couple times over. So I used Nano Banana to generate me some strings on a black and white background. And I've done the same right here for this part. And also on this chip itself, if we separate it, I just placed the texture on here with a random string variation. A string, by the way, is not something that women wear. It's actually a programming language thing for a piece of text. That's basically what it comes down to. I created 3, maybe 4 components, and I duplicated it all over this chip. And that's basically what happened here. Very simple stuff. I can show you the geometry real quickly. This is the geometry of the chip. Not my greatest work, but it works. So I'm not complaining. And well, I already explained how to do this, how to do that, and how to make this. So you basically have everything you need for this chip, I reckon. And let's have a look. So we have our chip here. And the way I did the animation for this chip is ridiculously simple. I go over here, and all of these are handpicked, selected by a professional, only to be animated on a like GZZ axis, like so. And press I, and then it will move off of this thing. And then I simply brought it back. And here's the trick. Once the camera moves around here, so of course we have a camera, it's this thing, and the camera is moving from here to the top, I made sure that these parts over here are falling when the camera is over there as well. And I did the same for the parts over here. So as you can see, a lot of these are going at the same rate. If you zoom in closer and have a look at this, things here are falling faster than things in the back. So there's a cadence to it where it's actually doing this, and that will make it a bit more integrated with the camera movement itself. Camera movement, how did we even do the camera movement? Haha, well, it's actually quite simple. So if we go to the camera itself, and there is an empty, and I've parented the camera to this empty. So I select the camera, select the empty last, Control P, parent it to an empty. And now if you rotate this around, scale it, or do with it whatever you like, the camera is going to follow along. So in this fashion, you can simply make an animation like this and place a keyframe, see what it looks like, and then play around in the graph editor in order to get to the exact type of animation that you want. It's actually a lot simpler than you can imagine, but that's not the only thing I did for the camera animation, because at certain points in time, I needed to add that extra special sauce, the little bit of salt right there. So I've got a focal length animation, and here we have 50 millimeters, but it's going to start to shift once the camera is going inside of the chip. So right over here, and we get that stretched out effect because of it. Now the chip seems very tall and long, and I think that's a great way to transition into something that's a really small object actually, and then make it seem way more grandiose, big, and have the traveling through that chip be a bit more entertaining instead of just having it be a normal flat chip as it always would have been. That gives it just a little bit of extra flair, I reckon, and of course I removed that as well as soon as I got to the top, and I can get away with some of my trickery. In this moment where we're going down, I actually removed that again. So right here, when we're at the next shot, so to say, or the next pose, everything is back to 44 millimeters, which is a more normal millimeter size for the camera I'm using here. We have a chip going on the chip. Now it seems like there's an impact, but if you look at this, actually there's no impact. The impact is completely created in the camera. I created a camera animation where each frame pop, pop, has some sort of rotation. It's quite aggressive, pop, but it does make it seem as if a large force has struck this chip. That's what I want to convey. This chip is powerful. It's making grounds tremble, people shake, earthquakes are being announced via CNN. That's what's going on right here. Bam, it's a very powerful chip. And then it's rotating around, simply using the empty again. And finally, we are moving out of the camera, and the camera is just this ring. I really wanted to have that idea, like we're zooming out through those cameras, through that Apple logo. And I don't know, I think it's a cool transition. So like this, and then we have another lens coming on here. Let me show you real quickly. This is what it looks like right now. Then we are going to the Apple logo, and I used a shader editor trick where I just manipulated the color of this color ramp in order to make it transparent or not. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. It's a pretty simple technique. And then it will become transparent or lose its transparency, such as right over here. So now the camera has time to move through this Apple logo, because we are moving backwards through this Apple logo, and it's showing what's happening. Now you're probably wondering what is this blob in the background, because that's also a pretty important part. It seems right here like I have a very flat face, and that's also the case in 3D. And the way that I did this was by using Mushroom. So the exact method I used to do this is I sat behind the table, I flick my wrist and hold myself still. I didn't move for a couple of seconds as my girlfriend picked up the camera and circled around me. So now I have enough shots that I can use in Mushroom to generate a photogrammetrized model, which is what I've got right here. And this is the end result. I of course then played around with the lighting, such as the blue light coming from the back, which was a practical light that I also used in the real shot. And of course for this Mushroom model I also had to add some 3D to it itself. So these two planes are completely 3D, obviously, and it made it look a little bit better for the entirety of the shot. Now, of course, these two thick little weird fingers I had to add because the photogrammetry didn't actually do it well enough. So it's just a cylinder, and it looks ridiculous, but I added some trickery right here to get away with my lack of skills. And that is by going over here. I actually, if you have a look at the light, dimmed the lights, so you wouldn't be able to see how messed up the finger actually is. So let's move. Da, da, da. You can see the light is getting weaker. And now you cannot see that I completely messed up this part. Haha. Yeah, if you can't solve your mistakes, at least hide them. So that's what I did here. I also made sure that the bokeh is a little bit extra right there. In reality, it's really not that hard. If you have all the models, all the textures, yeah, you can spend some time animating an empty. It's not rocket science. So that's it for my little breakdown video. I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did, click on subscribe and I will see you in the next one. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them and I'll try to respond as quickly and promptly as possible. So I will see you in this video.